Hello everyone and welcome to another real estate video. This is Javier Vidana, the real estate YouTube guy here in Phoenix, Arizona, helping you accomplish your home goals. Welcome to another chapter of Javier Vidana's real estate channel. There's a difference in quality in the video, hopefully you can tell. It can probably be 4K if you're able to. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to edit to be 4K, however, it is now recording 4K, so at least you get somewhat better quality. On top of that, my wife has also started going back to school recently, which is awesome. And because of that, I now have to take our kids, with me to the office for a few hours a day. And right now, they're currently behind the camera playing with some toys. And as you can tell, I'm very, very happy about it. So you might hear some clinks and some clanks, so that's them. I've told them to keep it down. Sadie, keep it down. Shh. But they're little kids, so it is what it is. So today's video, we're gonna talk about, do you need to be married to buy a house? And if you're not married, what are the ins and outs of how it looks like to buy something? We're gonna talk about the financing. We're gonna talk about how to take title, the pros, the cons, if you should be married. We're gonna talk about all that fun stuff. And before I begin the video, quick shout out to Shelby, who actually texted me and recommended this video. So props to her. She's one of the best title reps I've ever encountered in my real estate career. If you are an agent in the Phoenix, Arizona area, you need to meet up with her. Her Instagram channel can be found below. And if you just want to follow a really cool person, I recommend you follow her on Instagram as well. So thank you, Shelby. Now let's get to the video. What's really fascinating is it's in the last 6-7 years that I've been helping people buy and sell houses. Most of the time when I encounter a younger couple, people in their 20s or their 30s who are buying a house together, it's becoming more common to see them not married. As a matter of fact, in the last 3 years, about 70% of the people I've helped are not married. They are actually, living together, they have kids together, they have a life together, but for some reason or the other, they're not married. So I know for the older folks, it's probably gonna scare them and they're gonna think our society is rotting, but a lot of great relationships that I know of are people that aren't married. So because it's becoming more common for younger couples to go live together and not get married, even have kids, then naturally they want to eventually buy a house. So what's the real differences between buying a house as a married couple and a couple who's not married? Well, for starters, the actual showing phase and all the fun stuff, like, looking at houses and finding your favorite ones and what's not your favorite ones, all that fun stuff, that's still the same. You're still buying a house together as a couple. However, before you go and start looking and doing that fun stuff, you need to pre-qualify. It shouldn't be any different than any other home purchase. If you're married or not married, if you're single, if you're not single, I don't care. You need to get pre-approved and pre-qualified before you go look at houses. It's important to get an idea of what you qualify for, what loan works for you, all that good stuff. But what is different though, when it comes time to qualifying, you need to qualify as co-borrowers. But here's the great thing about not being married as in buying a house as a couple. If one person decided not to take care of their credit well, they made some bad decisions, or maybe other decisions are made for them by a family, now their credit isn't that great. The good thing is, as an unmarried couple, you can completely remove one person out of the loan and it's still okay. It still works. As far as the lender knows, that person is buying a house by themselves. Now, by doing this, you're removing the income, which potentially might help you qualify for more money. However, if the one person makes more money anyways, it really doesn't affect it. So as opposed to the married couple who, let's say they're trying to qualify for an FHA loan, if a husband doesn't have great credit and the wife has great credit, well, if you try to remove the husband out of the picture, you still need to account for his debts. Not all of his debts, only the debts he's acquired after the marriage, and also revolving debts like credit cards, lines of credit, stuff like that. So it still kind of makes it hard, because even though you're removing one person because the person doesn't have great credit, you're removing his income as well. But unfortunately, you have to keep his debts in mind. Now, there's ways around this, which I'll make a separate video for down the road. But for now, know that as a person who's not married, you do have to qualify as co-borrowers, which means both of you need to have the qualifying credit. Both of you need to have at least 2-year work history. Both of you need to have the actual credit score needed to buy a home in order to qualify for the program you want. If one person is lacking in one of those categories, you could remove them out of the picture, or you kind of just work on that category so that way you can both qualify, because odds are, even though you both have debts, both of your incomes are going to be necessary to buy a nicer, more expensive house. So like I said before, looking for a house is still the same. You find the house, you get your offer accepted and inspections, all that's the same. What does differ though, eventually when it's time to close, is how you take title. So once again, guys, I'm just an agent in Phoenix, Arizona, talking about real estate, right? So don't take my word as legal advice. It is up to you how you want to take title when it comes to buying a house. However, I can generally explain to you what your options are is if you're not married. If you're unmarried and you're buying a house, you can take title as joint tenants. Now, this is in Arizona. It could be a different name for you. Basically, as joint tenants, you both own the home 50-50, and if one of you guys passes away, the remaining of the ownership goes to the other person. It's that simple. It's cut and dry. None of that fancy stuff. This is essentially just as solid as if you were to buy the house with the person you're married with. If something happens, moves on to them, right? Simple as day. Your second option, which usually is reserved for people who are maybe older or maybe are coming from a previous relationship, who has kids with different marriages, whatever, is the tenants in common option for title. With tenants in common, so here's what happens. Both of you own the house 50-50. However, if one of you guys passes away, then instead of it going to the remaining spouse, it goes into the will, who has this person had on their will for the ownership to go to. And only 50% of that ownership goes to that person. If this person doesn't have a will, it doesn't just go to the surviving spouse. In that situation, it would go into probate court, probate estate, all that, what, I hope that you guys never have to deal with this, but when somebody passes away, it has to deal with this whole process of figure out who's the rightful owner and all that stuff. So it is not as easy as just going to the surviving spouse. So as you said, so as I explained, it's usually more for somebody who's more established, that has different kids, different families. So that's more so that the remaining half of the house can go to that person rather to the surviving spouse. So weird, because as I'm talking about this, I'm thinking about like murder mysteries and like wives and husbands poisoning each other for 50%. I don't know. Don't poison your husbands, guys. Mercy, don't poison me. I'm sorry. Anyways, big shout out to Nolan and Sadie for being quiet. Thank you guys. I appreciate you. Thank you. Do you want to say hi? Say hi.
Hi.
All right, they're saying hi. As most people eventually say, well, what happens when we do get married and we do want to eventually take title as a married couple? Well, here's the thing. Once you're officially married, months down the road, years after buying the house, I don't know, it's your prerogative, you can get that fixed or changed on your title. You can't go to the same title company, well, at least here in Arizona you can't, because they insure and know everything that's done with them, right? So you would have to go to a deed preparation company. I don't know what they're called in your state, but they're basically what they do is they write deeds for you, they adjust deeds for you, you pay them a certain fee. You have to go to them, you let them know, hey, we're married now, so you take the title differently as married people. So you might not see your rights really change or be affected at all, but for some people it's important. What happens most of the time is you leave title the same, you guys get married, when it comes time to sell, everything's public record. So the title company will be able to find the public record that you guys were married after the fact. And even though on title it'll say an unmarried person and this unmarried person owned the house, they can put the lines together and say obviously they married after the point, so now they're married. It's not going to be like, oh no, there must be a different person because it says here it's unmarried. They can cross the lines together and they can figure out, hey, it's the same people. However, if it's important to you, I highly recommend go get it done with a deed preparation company. That way it gets officially fixed on title and all that fancy stuff. And that's really the only differences. When it comes time to pre-qualifying, you have to make sure to be co-borrowers. And if one of you guys aren't working, then you can get removed and no penalty. And the second thing is when it comes time to take title, then you have to make sure to choose if you want one or the other. Whereas if someone passes away, it goes to the surviving spouse or it goes to somebody's will. So that's really it, guys. You do not let this hold you back. Do not let society's standards of what you should be doing with your life hold you back. If you two love each other and you want to buy a house together, you are in your right to do so, and it really doesn't affect you at all. So thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate your time. Let me know if you can notice anything different in the quality, or else I'm going to cry. If you are in the Phoenix, Arizona area and you're looking for a real estate agent, I am your guy. Contact info is below. Other than that, guys, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate your time. Have a wonderful day. I don't know what to do with my hands right now, so I'm just going to move them around. Bye-bye.